Yeah, so her name's Kate. That's going to be K as in khaki, A as in aha, I as in Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die, T as in toot, 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 toot.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy. We've got Diamonds Are Forever to talk about today. Forever. What if it just keeps going on forever, Eric?
It's an
This is
hour
our
of us.
final Sean Connery Bond that we're doing. And next week, we start a whole new run of, we'll just say it on the top here, Steven Spielberg sci-fi. Sans ET, since we've already done ET in a past episode. I
Hmm.
believe it was one of those 40-year look back episodes, right? Where we just did
It
like,
might have been a 1982 run
yeah,
or sci-fi run. Yeah,
I think 1982 was the first one we did
I
of,
think you're
of
right.
those
I
look
think
backs.
so.
So,
Yes.
but yes, we will start things off. And this is all leading up to, obviously, if you can't figure it out right at this moment, it's going to be leading up to Disclosure Day because he's got a new sci fi movie coming out in just a few weeks coming up. And what, May? Yeah. So, got a
Is it?
while.
I thought it was later, but maybe you're right.
I don't know. It's this
Well,
year, Eric. Let me tell you about this year. Let me tell you about this year
it's
so
June.
far.
It's June. It's June. But there you go.
What did I say?
May.
I mean, is that really worth the time we spent
I think it
figuring
was
this out?
five. I think it was
We're starting
five.
things off with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and then you can kind of figure out the way we're going to run this through.
Yes.
If you just go chronologically through all of the sci-fi films from there on out, uh, just skip over ET. All right, so
Hmm.
we're going to do Close Encounters of the Third Time, and that is our third kind, and that is our next run. But let's get into Connery's final Bonnery. Eric, Diamonds Are Forever is, I think it's the movie I revisited the least, though I am
Hmm.
pretty familiar with it. But I have to say, I appreciate certain elements of it and could do without some other elements of it. But it's sort of a mixed bag for me, but I do like some stuff in it.
Hmm.
But to be fair, Eric, the reason I really wanted to do the Sean Connery run in the first place, yes, I am way into James Bond, sure, but really, I just wanted to talk about the one non-Connery Bond in this run, which was On Her Majesty's Secret
Right.
Service,
And we
and
and we weren't going to do a George Lazenby run,
yeah, we
so
weren't going to just do a one-off, I guess, with that movie. But yeah, so Connery afforded at least me the opportunity to talk about one of my favorite Bond films, if not my favorite Bond film. There are other Bond films I would like to talk about, but I don't know that we would ever do. Who knows? We can't say never again, Eric. A Roger Moore run, but there's definitely interesting things to talk about in the other Bonds coming up. If I see us doing another one, the obvious one because it is serialized would probably be Daniel Craig, and it's the most one that most of our listeners are probably most familiar with at this
sure.
point. But
Hmm.
Connery returned for this, getting paid $1.2 million. So at that point, he was the highest paid actor in history. Though he says, and I don't know why I wouldn't believe him because people could check on these things. He donated all of his money because he used his salary for this movie to create a public or an arts trust in Scotland for Scottish artists. And also, as part of the deal, he got to make some movies on it. Like he got to basically he get to make two movies of his own, like passion projects of his own. I think only one wound up getting made, but he got a basically another like a two picture. So one for them, two for him is
Right,
what
right.
it
I'm trying
was.
to remember. I wanted to make a joke about a movie that I now can, whatever movie that it was that Emilio Estevez got to do if he did Mighty Ducks 3. Like that, that happens a lot, when you're like, fold this in, like do this small thing I want to do, and I'll do your franchise
What
movie.
year was Mighty Ducks 3?
Uh, that you also probably near the end of the 90s.
Because I
Uh,
don't know what movie he would have done after the mid 90s, to be
It was
honest. I don't.
1996, and while we're talking, I'll look up. It was something he directed. He's directed a couple movies, including Wisdom,
Yeah.
which I did see. But how's a director? How's a director? God
Was
damn
it
it!
The War at Home?
It might have been The War at Home. I think
Oh,
actually,
I just pulled that out of my ass.
I
All
am
right.
almost positive, and the timing is right. So I think it is probably The War at Home. Yes.
Okay.
Same year. Also Disney. There you go. We figured it out.
Bond. Yeah, Connery's back as Bond for this, and we start the movie off with him like out for blood, like going after Blofeld, trotting all over the world.
Out for Bloodfeld?
Out for Bloodfeld. Out for Seinfeld. Did you know that Jill St. John, the first American Bond girl who we'll be talking about on this episode, was on an episode of Seinfeld with her then husband Robert Wagner? Anyway,
He's still her husband, I believe.
I mean, they were also there, married then.
All right. You got me there. I did not know that, but yes, you got me there.
Okay, so, yeah, Connery for everything that I read and seen in little behind the scenes documentaries is that Connery was back. He was not a prick about it. He was nice to work with. He was amiable. He obviously was like, okay, this one is my last one. Like he really wasn't going to do more after this, but he did get paid a shit ton of money. But an interesting aspect here is that Bond is out for revenge because of presumably because of the murder of Tracy Bond, though she's never mentioned. That's the curious thing here. It's almost like you could have skipped On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and he was just out for revenge because of You Only Live Twice.
Yes, yeah, he's just really
he's
grumpy
about. He's just after him because he's also like he's hyper violent. He's beating up stooges and goons and choking women on the beach. But then, like when he quote unquote kills Blofeld, he's like, "Welcome to hell, Blofeld." He's smiling, like it's a little more lighthearted than you would expect for somebody.
I mean, he does say "Welcome to hell" versus like some plastic joke, but still, yeah, it's very odd how they handle it. So and if you last week, it's funny because you did make an offhand reference to the fact that he would be seeking revenge because I couldn't remember. Again, I don't remember these movies except for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I didn't remember if they acknowledged it at all. And if I thought, did they just pick up and there's just a new adventure with no Blofeld or even Blofeld, but there's no reference. They did it in such a weird way because it's clearly supposed to follow it. And the most I think they even touch upon it is with M talking about him being back, although M acts kind of like a dick about it because no one says to him, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," or now you have peace after your wife died.
Yeah, he's like the least we can expect from you, 007, after I think it was supposed to be 2 years he was after.
Yeah, no, it does make so it's like M's almost referencing it, but then acting like a dick about it. It was interesting to read that Moneypenny almost wasn't in this movie because of a money pun intended, a money dispute. So they added last minute that scene, which is funny because there's a couple funny things about the fact that they added that one scene with Moneypenny. It puts her in the field, but with no ado. Like it's like, oh, Moneypenny, I guess, goes in the field now. And she makes a "bring me a ring" James joke that would seem very bad taste and could have actually set up something, but instead it feels like what it is, which was an awkward last minute
What if she added like it could just be the same ring?
Tracy's not using her.
I don't need a new ring, like if that's the issue. Like I'm perfectly fine with a secondhand ring.
Right. So it is very odd that it almost feels like they should have not acknowledged it at all because they do this strange half acknowledgement.
I'll say this. Bond should not have invited M to his wedding. He's a dick. He didn't want to rescue Tracy. He's like, your personal problems are not our concern. And then like he gets back in this movie and he's like, finally, 007, you want to actually work for a living?
You lazy asshole.
Like, yeah, just invite Q and Moneypenny. Don't invite even Q's a dick to James Bond, but he's better than M. Like,
well, you feel like Q likes him underneath, whereas like M just seems to dislike him, like really dislike him.
He's like, now pay attention, 007. This is how you cheat at slots.
But yeah, it's like M is just so mad at the beginning. He's like, Blofeld's dead. Like he's just like, okay, you got the guy who killed your wife.
Yeah,
like, he's just so...
but he uses air quotes,
right?
And he's like, "Why'd you do that? He actually killed my wife." He's like, "Well, technically, he didn't. That was Irma Bunt, not to be seen in this movie."
Hey, that's a good point.
Well, she was set. So this movie went through several drafts, and so dig into the backstory of this movie. One is that like there were several ideas. One was Bunt and Draco, or her dad, were coming back, and it was going to be a full, like, Tracy revenge movie. And but then that got scrapped because they decided very briefly and to make Bond American. And they went through,
Insane.
yeah. So they were at this point again, 10 years of doing Bond. They were like, we need a big switch. And not just because a decade had gone by, but also an actor had already been replaced. The actor that replaced the popular one, it didn't quite work out, even though, in retrospect, it's a great film. It didn't perform as well as the others. It still made money. They're like, we need a new, we need to Americanize Bond, which is funny because what you see with this movie and the next movie, which is Roger Moore's first movie, Live and Let Die, they do make efforts to, like, we need Bond in America more. Like, we need to put Bond in New York, in Harlem. We need to put him in Vegas. Like, they do make these concerted efforts to sort of like keep Bond going with the times. You know what I mean? Like, that's why the 70s was a lot of chasing trends, which is like blaxploitation and Star Wars. And, we need to like insert Bond into what people actually like in movies these days. And so you see that here. And an actor was cast. A guy named John Gavin was cast as Bond. And when they decided to change routes once again and go back to Sean Connery, he was paid in full. Like, they basically bought him out. But a guy named John, after talking to the likes of Adam West and Burt Reynolds and other American actors who were considered for the role,
I
the
believe
relative unknown John
Robert
Gavin.
Wagner's name is in there. We'll talk about him more later.
Yeah, Robert Wagner, who was at one point and also still married to Jill St. John. So. Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, it's crazy that they did do that route. The movie is.
Can you imagine the internet if there was social media when this was all happening? The utter meltdown that would have occurred.
This is the funny thing. Like, I can imagine with everything going on with I'm not saying that Denis Villeneuve would want to do this movie, but and he would probably drop out. But I would not be 10 shades of shocked if they were like, Bond's American now in 2026, if they just switched that shit up. Of course, it would be met with internet ire, but what isn't is the thing, right? Like, honestly,
Daniel Craig having blonde hair was like,
that's what I mean. Like,
yeah,
they just like, James Bond is an American woman now. And like, I'm just saying, I'd still watch the movie, but like, if everything is going to get outraged, then you may as well just take a full swing. Anyway, then there was a script where, and this was actually left over from On Her Majesty's Secret Service, is that the Blofeld character in that movie was originally conceived to be, they had this bee in their fucking bonnet about, they really wanted to do Goldfinger's twin brother.
What?
and so that was conceived originally for, he was going to be, it was Goldfinger seeking revenge for the death of his brother, and it was originally like considered for the Blofeld role in Majesty's Secret Service, and then they brought it back for this one too. And Gert Frobe, it's so funny because they were
did you say that correctly? So it would have been like, you didn't kill Goldfinger, you killed my twin, and now the real Goldfinger was back?
No, I think you killed the Goldfinger, but then there's like a Kevin Goldfinger.
Okay.
Like it's his twin brother because
I guess that's a family name. Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
they wanted to. Yeah, his name's not Goldfinger. It's fine. But
what if it were?
I'd like the movie more. They were so set on Gert Frobe returning for the role, which is so weird because like it was a guy they dubbed over the whole movie anyway. Like, it's like, let's bring that guy back so we can hire the other guy to do his voice again.
I mean, we were talking about some of the less, the less effective Bond villains. I think where I landed on was like, he was memorable, but a weak villain. Like, it's like he's not a cool villain. He is a memorable character, which I guess is more than he can say for some of the others, but still so strange that they'd be like, bring him back. He has to come back.
I guess, they're chasing the Bond mania high, right? Which is like, if we bring Goldfinger back too, that's a villain people also know. So what do you think about...
What if the guy who played Goldfinger plays Dr. Doom in this one?
No, what if it would have to be a good guy, right? So it'd be like, what if Felix Leiter is now Blofeld?
But we dub him over with that same voice for some reason?
Blofeld is a weird one. Like, there's no need to dive into like why there's a different fucking Felix Leiter every goddamn movie. It's almost a joke. I don't know what people even thought at this point back in these Bond movies when there was always a new
It's
Felix Leiter. Was it a
so
joke?
weird. Like him and Blofeld, like his like buddy and his arch enemy keep changing. It's so strange. Like why they can't have the
To
same
not
actor
have Telly Savalas reprise the role. First of all, he was very expensive.
in Vegas.
In Vegas,
It's
in
insanity.
Vegas is crazy.
And to choose someone who'd been in another Bond movie acting against Connery, it's all very funny choices.
And also, like, you don't have any hallmarks of anything we've seen except the cat and the outfit. Like, you can't even be bald. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
right.
there's no touchstone here for that. And it's set up at the beginning, which is like we're assuming that he, this is this plastic surgery clinic, and he's made himself look so different. But why does he also sound like Charles Gray? Like, why does he sound like him? Why is he like this? Seem like this weird, like, I don't know, pissed off socialite who's just like, yes, James. It's
Well,
weird.
I will say because again, I've seen Rocky Horror, dozens of times. It was funny that because he's in that one scene in the other Bond movie, and he's playing a good guy, and he's kind of being very amiable with Bond. So I was comforted to hear him sound a lot more like he's using the nuances of his Rocky Horror character in this
Yeah.
movie a lot more. I by the way, I half remembered he comes back. Besides the fact that I think I would have guessed it either way because you don't introduce that he can make doubles and then have it be like, "Whoops, I didn't." But it would have been funny if he was only in one scene again. Like it's just like then they should bring him back as a different character for one
Yeah.
scene over and over and over again.
The so again, it's not just that he looks different because you can excuse that away with the plastic surgery angle if you really want to go like he looks so different, but also first of all, once Bond knew what he looked like because he killed him at the beginning, he should change his whole
Yeah,
plastic. He should change what he looks like completely again. Secondly, it's also just the voice, which is like we got used to the weird. We don't see him voice from two movies. Then we get Donald Pleasant's voice. Then we get Telly Savalas's voice, and so he just also sounds different every time. Which is a guy who's supposed to like be imposing. It would comfort me to know that it's the same cat for the last 8 years.
I'm guessing not. It's funny, by the way, with the opening because correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember seeing the cat until they show the cat to go into the credits.
No,
He's
it's just like a weird cut to cat scream.
It's the
and then,
weirdest cut to cat. Obviously, if you know the other movies, that's kind of a shtick, but it's just funny to not establish the cat at the top of this one. So the way they do it, which is yes, cut to the cat screaming as though he's like, "No, you killed my beloved Blofeld," and then the opening credits have the cat slinking around. I was like, I want this movie to be about the cat's revenge. Like I
I
want this.
want I wanted him to like in the montage at the opening pre-credit part, him like he gets the cat and he's like choking it. He's like, "Where's Blofeld?
Where's Blofeld?
You're gonna talk."
I mean, he does get to make his pussy double entendre later, involving the cat.
Well, it was the wrong pussy.
Mhm.
The wrong pussy should be the name of Bond 26. It's,
It's a callback to Diamonds Are Forever.
it's a callback to a lot of Bond movies. So the other part of this is that they took some of the bones of the book, of the diamond smuggling aspects of the book, and merged it with the Blofeld plot, which also merging it with Broccoli. So Cubby Broccoli had a dream one night, and where he went into his good friend Howard Hughes's penthouse, and he was good friends with Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes got the first print of every Bond film shipped to him, and he'd screen it in
Whoa.
his fucking like Fortress of Insanity. So which is why there's the Willard White was the sort of Howard Hughes stand-in at this point. But he had a dream where he went into his friend Howard's office, and the chair turned around, and it was someone else. This is his dreamscape, right? And that gave us the Blofeld reveal that we see in this movie, and how it all sort of came together in a Howard Hughes, but Blofeld's really taking advantage of this like recluse millionaire guy for his own ends. He didn't kill him, but he's got him set up at a house with two like buff gymnasts who defend him or Keep him prisoner? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But Willard White, the White House Casino here, is played by Jimmy Dean, entertainer, vaudeville entertainer extraordinaire, most known to me and Eric in our generation as the Sausage Dude.
Yep. Yep.
Jimmy Dean Sausage Empire probably made more. I'm sure he made more money with those damn sausages than he ever did entertaining, and he made a lot of money entertaining. So Jimmy Dean as Willard White here. We've got Charles Gray, I already mentioned, as Blofeld, bizarre. The last Blofeld, technically the last Blofeld, unless you count Never Say Never Again, until Spectre.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because this is when he would lose the Blofeld and the Spectre rights would go away in the early 70s and not return until 2011. I don't know. It was a long time. So Sean Connery back as James Bond. I like him in this movie, though he does not have the hallmark of a guy who is truly like mourning somebody. You know, he's not mourning a loss. It doesn't weigh heavy on him. He's not like, I couldn't possibly sleep with you, Jill St. John. I'm still mourning my wife.
Yeah, it's weird. Again, I think it's obviously, he looks older. I think, and he could have done it. It's like, I'm sure that they didn't want it to get that somber, right? They didn't want this to be a bummer Bond revenge movie that like they can embrace by the Daniel Craig era. So it's too bad because even with the weird switch back and forth between Bonds, I could see a version of this movie where it's Connery, but you do play it, And again, the opening is interesting because it breaks the format. It's not one sequence; it's a montage of him like looking for him. There's multiple scenes in the pre-credit scene, you know. But yeah, it's like they like we've said, they don't really want to fully address it. By the way, I'm glad to hear Connery didn't act like a dick on the set of this. Like, I don't want to be here, but probably more than he had on the last couple movies before he left. But it was funny to be like, in that opening montage, it would be very obvious he just did ADR for the scenes where you don't see his face and he's like grabbing people. It's like, I'm not going to those sets. I'll just ADR.
It's interesting too that the creative choice. So I should mention too, Guy Hamilton is back for this movie. He hadn't done one since Goldfinger. And he didn't do Thunderball because he literally was sort of like, he was exhausted by the production. And also he was like, I'm creatively out of ideas for Bond. Like, and so now he's like, now I've got some ideas for Bond. Like, I have more. His juices were flowing once again, which is also to say, and we won't get into the later Bonds at this point either, but we've already mentioned up top that there were some very important directors, a handful of directors important to Bond, because they did multiple Bonds. And Guy Hamilton did Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever, and he will do the next two movies, so which includes Roger Moore's first movie. Lewis Gilbert of You Only Live Twice also comes back. John Glenn did all the 80s Bonds. He did 5 in a row, so the most of anyone. And then the modern ones are Sam Mendes and Martin Campbell for different reasons. But Guy Hamilton's back. He's got Sean Connery back. Sean Connery, and this is just the way people aged back then, looks 20 years older instead of 10 years older.
Yeah. It's 9 years since the first movie came out, but he looks so much older. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the drinking and the smoking. And I know I know that's sort of a hack bit to say, but it's true. Like, that's just the way people just look fucking older.
Yeah.
And that's why
those 9 years.
It's also why our concepts, Eric, of adults are skewed from when we were a kid, where we're like, oh my God, when you're 42, you're an old man, because everyone in a movie who was like 40 or older was just like, well, I guess I'm going to retire and I wear sweaters and smoke a pipe, and I'm like the super adultiest adult that you'll ever see in your life. And we grew up and became man children who still collect toys and wear shorts.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy that Connery's like, barely in his 40s in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I would absolutely think he's like at least mid 50s watching this movie.
And we know that he's lost his hair and he's wearing a hairpiece, but like, he still has the he's gone gray on his sideburns and the side of his head, and it's just, and also his wrinkles, and he's a little heavier in this movie, and that's not a bad thing. It's just, he just looks older than you would expect, especially even since You Only Live Twice, which wasn't that many years earlier. So, but women still want him. It's fine. They're written to. So we've got, I already mentioned Jill St. John, first American Bond girl, as Tiffany Case, a diamond smuggler who's scantily clad for most of this movie. because she's just sunning herself quite a bit. She's out and doing stuff, changing her color of her wigs. I like her. I like Tiffany. I think she's a fun foil, though the element at the end where she actually screws up Bond's plan, she's seen sort of as like a ditz and not less capable, right? And especially coming off of Tracy, people might say it's like a downgrade, just in sort of, I don't know, being part of the plot. But I will say that I like that she was part of the plot almost the whole movie. It's not like she doesn't come in like halfway through or something like that. She is the second person in this movie.
But God, I thought Bond was real out of line with his "you stupid twit." You put the real one back in because there's the way to play this.
I mean, DC was going to get annihilated, so I mean, I kind of forgive him, but that's fine.
Well, it's funny because I realized that she's not as egregious, but there is a little bit in the near the final scenes. She's a little Willie Scott. Which is to say, when she grabs the gun and shoots
and she
it,
falls off
like, and then she does like there's something makes her go near the end, like seeing something. So I was thinking about the fact that him slipping her that tape and her thinking, oh, I'm supposed to swap that tape. Like that would have been like, I thought about how like you'd have Indiana Jones react like rolling his eyes to that instead of like having Connery be like, you stupid twit, like so like angry about it. It was like,
well, he'd already hit her, so it's sort of like where do you go from there? Like he already backhanded her, I think, like within the first 5 minutes of
probably, yeah.
So he was like, I can't punch you again. I'm just gonna call you an idiot.
Those are two of his go-to moves, I guess.
Indiana Jones would have just started choking Willie with his whip. Like, whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, she was very Willie Scott in the final part.
Yeah, it's only near the end where
when Wint and Kid like attack them, and she's like, "What do I
think that's where I think that's where she yells the E. Yeah, where she's like, E.
So she's like, ooh.
Abada. I want to mention the name that really jumped out to me here. I had no idea that he wrote 3 Bond movies. This was the first. Tom Mankiewicz as writer, because best known for a movie he's not listed as a screenwriter on, which is Superman, Donner's Superman, because another famous case of he did substantial year-long rewrites. Most of that movie is his voice. But is not credited as a screenwriter. He is like a creative consultant on it. And created Heart to Heart, starring Robert Wagner.
Yes.
All roads lead.
Mankiewicz was hired because they needed someone who could get American, dialogue, make it more authentic, especially like gangsters, which is funny because there's not a lot of gangsters speaking here. Though there is a funny moment with Sid Haig, who you would know from other he's sort of a horror icon, cult movie icon. He's one of the gangsters where he's like, I got a brother. Funny.
Yes. Yeah. Sid Haig, his name in the opening credits excited me. It's just funny to get into, now we're starting to get into people who, and Sid Haig, died as an old man, but he really he had his like heyday as an old man, which is to say, as an old man, people like who grew up with him and loved him in like his little genre roles, like Tarantino would put him in a small role in Kill Bill, but most of all Rob Zombie, who made him one of the leads in the House of a Thousand Corpses trilogy. Although I know he was very sick by the time he did the third one, which is why he has a small role in that. But because he kind of worked the most like prominently in the last 20 years of his life as like, a genre guy, it was funny to see his name in the opening credits and be like, oh, okay, this is when he's just a working actor, just doing stuff.
This movie is almost there's a tonal shift in the movie when Blofeld is revealed, because then it becomes more of like a Bond versus Blofeld and like literally laser satellite movie.
There is a lot in this movie that seems to aim towards the Moore era as far as getting it sillier and kind of goofier and bigger.
But the first part, which is just the diamond smuggling part and Wint and Kid going around tying up loose ends and killing people, is also, I think, I like it better than the Blofeld part, which is to say, first of all, I really like Wint and Kid. I've always liked them. There's gay panic and stereotyping involved in as far as like, again, like homosexuals being portrayed as villains in this era and goofy villains. But first of all, that's Bruce Glover, Crispin Glover's father. The resemblance is right there. You can see it. Secondly, the Kid is played by a very accomplished musician named Putter Smith, who played with Thelonious Monk, and a lot of blues players and rock and roll players, Ray Charles, etc. They originally wanted they wanted two like non-actors in the role, like two musicians, so they got Potter Smith, and then they wanted Paul Williams, a very famous singer-songwriter of yesteryear, but he declined, so they got Bruce Glover. But I really like them going around and killing all these people. I love the sticking to score. I like how they make things up. It's seemingly on the spot, which is like, we're just gonna, hey, I found this scorpion. This will be fun. I don't know what you think of Winton Kid.
Well,
Eric.
first I realized that we're kind of doing like a long talk about like the behind the scenes here, but I will say that I didn't really like this movie, but I thought this movie was fine. It had the benefit of going in with very low expectations because I knew a lot of people were kind of like pretty down on this one or pretty like whatever about it. And I think a lot of that probably does have to do with it as a follow-up to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and how it does drop the ball.
Which is funny because that's the movie that America was supposed to not like. You
right,
know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
and this is all under a modern lens, right? Yeah, because there were people in 71 who probably were just like, oh, good, Connery's back and we're not going to have a bummer ending. So I went in with low expectations, and then I thought, it's fine. It's not great. It kind of lags at a certain point, but there are things in it I quite enjoyed. And I think one of the big ones was Winton Kid, who were just their introduction scene is really fascinating to me, just because it feels so different from other Bond movies. Now, again, we are in the 1970s, and we know that, movies are going to change a lot in the 70s as far as their vibe and their feel. Now, I'm not saying the James Bond movies are about to have Roger Moore come in and get actually much campier. So it's not like Bond movies are going to go into like 70s auteur downer, vibes.
Yeah, we're not going French New Wave with Bond. It's
no.
fine. Yeah.
But the introduction of Winton Kid almost leans towards that. The way that scene is filmed, which with a much darker palette, and the quirkiness of the music, they get their own theme, just them as characters, and the casting of these two guys, and this guy with his long stringy, balding up top, and then his long stringy hair and his mustache, they are weird in a way that the Bond movies haven't done yet, and they are interesting characters. And I always love, Matt, to see that, on Wikipedia, which is fan generated, that Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd have their own Wikipedia page, which most Bond henchmen / hitmen of this type don't.
Even Oddjob didn't have his page, or
I think Oddjob does.
I think Wint and Kidd, aside from like not being in a Goldfinger like lauded movie, are like top tier Bond goons.
But
on par with Oddjob.
Like, that's my point, is that I think that this movie, if you're looking for what's good about it, it has very memorable dynamic with these two. And I kind of agree with you. I put in my notes at one point, I think I put a silly like, where are my dudes at? Because there's a long stretch where they're not in the movie.
Well, they'd already killed everybody, and now they kind of only had to kill Bond at a certain point. So Winton Kid, I want to bring up...
The movie is lesser for when it's not with them, is my point.
That's why you're talking about the stretches that drag. It's like, where's Winton Kid? Yeah. A lot of Vegas in this movie, a lot of like, and again, I'm not too familiar. Like, Vegas was definitely a thing, and that people knew about. But like, when they're like, we need all the establishing shots of circus, because maybe at that point it's like, hey, people don't know about this place. People need to see how crazy it is and how it's like a real circus. And look at this elephant wins. First of all, I love the elephant winning the slot machine. Where
what the hell? That was so weird.
In a row.
That elephant, A, it pulled a slot machine. B, it won, and C, it was psyched. Again,
I was upset that Peanuts didn't come out. So
it was, again, we are leaning towards some of the more stuff.
And I also don't know why we didn't see Q and this elephant going around and like Q cheating to help the elephant win all the slots.
And winking at the elephant, who winks back.
And then the elephant is also in every Q scene going forward in the Bond movies.
Yeah, there he is. That elephant. Vegas setting was interesting because, look, Vegas is, and I have no issue with a Bond movie going to Vegas. Vegas is inherently cinematic. I was shocked how much of the movie stayed in Vegas, because Vegas is also actually geographically, of course, very small as far as like what you would actually go to. And so for a James Bond movie, if there'd been like, oh, this is the half hour in Vegas, that would have made sense to me. But it was funny that I'm like, oh, most of this movie's just going to stay in
No,
Vegas.
because it had to do. It was the Howard Hughes thing. He had to climb up to the penthouse. He had to do all this. But before that, first of all, there's some chase scenes in this movie I really like. The moon buggy one is great, and I don't know, and especially when the astronauts are trying to grab him and they're moving in slow motion is ridiculous. When he's running across the soundstage and like get him, and the astronauts are like still pretending they're in like on the moon.
Again, there's some shtick here. Yeah.
And I don't know what the moon landing conspiracy world was like back then, and if this was sort of a poke at like they faked the moon landing, which would have just been, you know, what, 2 years earlier,
a couple years before, yeah.
And they're like, see, it's fake because there's a soundstage. Or was it actually true that they actually did have a soundstage in case they couldn't land on the moon, like as a backup? You know, that's all another part of the conspiracy, is that that's true, but they actually did land on the moon, but there was a soundstage. But so all this weird things. But the moon buggy chase is fun. And then the car chase in Vegas, for which they actually did shut down Vegas streets for, is also fun. But you also realize that it's like within 3 blocks, because when you're looking at the windshield, they pass Golden Nugget like 4 times. Like it's the same street. And then they go to a parking lot and he does circles around it for like it's like they're chasing him around the same outdoor parking lot. So it's really compact, but I think it's still a lot of imagination used for whatever area they were allowed to do this car chase, because it doesn't go down the strip. You know what I mean?
No. Well, it briefly does. I think you see Fremont at the top of it, but then they're going into their own thing. Again, as someone who knows Vegas okay, it's not like I don't love Vegas. I don't go there a ton, although I'm going to be there a couple times in the next month. It is fun to watch stuff that is set in Vegas.
I don't go there a ton, though I will be there a couple times in the next month.
That's what I'm saying in general, but the happenstance of life means I'm going to be there twice in the next month. Vegas is obviously keeps changing. It keeps being updated. Things get demolished and replaced. So I did have the that mild curiosity of being like, oh, which of these places are still around, which are gone. Knowing I'd seen some of these signs at the Neon Museum in Vegas, which is a very cool place where you can see the signs of the past.
Old Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Dune sign I might have seen there. That chase is very fun, and I definitely think it shows sort of an update in film, because we've talked so much about the wonkiness of the rear projection shots, and it's way better in this movie, because I was kind of paying attention. I was like, oh, when they cut to him now, they have figured out better techniques, which is making the projection stuff way fast motion, keeping it tight on him. Like it doesn't have that weird like now we're in a shot with a rear projection. Like they've managed.
I also think the car lent itself better too, because the back windshield was smaller. So
I think that
all the design was.
I think
better,
all the design, it's all set at night, so you can use the neon. I just felt like because we had thought that had been kind of a through line about, oh, it's funny when they do these cut tos of the actors that are clearly not part of it. It worked way better. It was like much more actually felt like he was actually there, even if he wasn't, driving in the insane car chase part.
I want to bring up the sideways car alley escape, when he flips the car on its side and they come out the other side and squeeze through that tight alleyway. They couldn't complete the shot when they were doing the stunt. And so they picked it up a couple months later. And the stunt team that did the shot of the car coming out of the alleyway on the other side did the car the wrong way. So it's like the car goes into the alley on its right side, but it comes out on its left side. And so to compensate for this, they do this weird thing where we see Bond and Tiffany in the car diagonally on our screen, and the camera tilts so that they are on almost as if they tilt the car in the alleyway, so that when they come out on the other side, it makes sense. So they did that in post. It's just an editing thing where like we're supposed to somehow either not have noticed, or B, think that somehow within this narrow alleyway, he stood the car on its other wheels. And like, so that's always fun. And if you don't notice it, fine. But now you'll never not notice it. So,
but I always enjoy kind of funny, clever, trying to fix stuff like that. Also, as you talk about Vegas car chase, car on side an alley, I start thinking about Go, and I wish that a suffering from bad shrimp, Breckenmeyer and James Duvall were in the back seat of this car as James Bond careens through Vegas.
I mean, all Vegas stories are going on at the same time right now. Danny Ocean and his team are robbing.
Sure.
Moneypenny in the field. You brought up the fact that they added that scene. There was a reshoot just to get Moneypenny in the movie, and it was like she's in the field and she hands Bond Peter Frank's papers. After we assume she just knocked him out, like he went into the room, she comes out, gives him the papers. It's not till a few scenes later that you realize that Franks was alive. But, for a few minutes there, you're like, did she fucking like slice his neck? Like, did she like, this is like Moneypenny's like actually the better 00 secretly. Now there's a revisionist movie. It's like Moneypenny follows James Bond on all of his missions, cleaning up his Mr. Magoo style messes like Penny and Brain do for Inspector Gadget. Like they.
So in Marvel Comics, when they decided to introduce the Winter Soldier concept, because again, in for decades, it was just that Bucky was his Robin-like partner in World War II who died. And then Ed Brubaker is like, hey, I'm going to do this whole story that Bucky is alive, but he's this brainwashed assassin. But he also retconned what Bucky was even all about in World War II, which is, the facade was like the gosh, jolly sidekick. He was actually wet works. He was actually like doing stuff Cap wouldn't do behind the scenes, and he was killing people. Anyway, I'm saying Moneypenny. This is where they do it. Like she's the one who's like doing like the nastiest murders the whole time.
Because like, is it like clean? Does she just snap a neck? Does she like slice a throat, which is kind of bloody? She rip into his chest and pull out his beating heart? Like, what does she do? Peter Franks though escapes, which gives us the very fun close quarters elevator fight, which I think is really well done and pretty physical. That I like, as they like don't have room to fight each other and are breaking glass everywhere, and there's like some death near calls and stuff like that. Anyway.
I really like that fight too. And yeah, it just felt like something new for Bond. It is funny because it's like a way to make it more cinematic, especially at a time when cameras were big and they couldn't get quite in there, was that he keeps smashing. It turns out this elevator is filled with glass walls. So it's like they just keep smashing glass, but it really works. It's fun. The going up and down, obviously at a time where you can accept that these buttons you're not stuck going to where you first pressed. And yeah, it's all cool. Later on in the movie, Bond will ride on top of a external elevator in Vegas on top of it. So this is a big elevator action Bond movie. That's like a lot of
elevators were all the rage in 1971. Going up, going down, getting stuck, pushing the alarm. People loved everything about elevators. Do you know? So then it's also interesting when he switches the wallet with the guy so that she's like, you killed James Bond, that James Bond was known. Like, so it's almost like this was a little weird meta moment, because she knows, as sort of just this, I guess, cog in the machine of diamond smuggling, knows who James Bond is.
This opens a can of worms that they never will really want to deal with, which is, the joke about is James Bond, a bad spy, and that he introduces himself as Bond, James Bond everywhere, is the like, is he a known commodity? And for her to be like, oh my God, you killed James Bond, it's a strange thing, because then you think about the fact that James Bond publicly in another movie was supposed to have died and got like a newspaper articles written about him, about Commander Bond's death. So again, these movies are never going to quite parse that, but it was strange. It was also very funny that his identifying card was a Playboy Club membership. I thought that was very, very funny. But yes, how much is James Bond oh my God, that's James, Jesus Christ, it's James Bond. How much is he a known commodity? I think is very ethereal and malleable throughout this series.
I think it's something that maybe, because even Daniel Craig's movies didn't like address this that much, though. What I'll say is, Bond, it depends on how much you need Bond to go undercover. like appear somewhere and give a different name and have somebody be like, no, but you're James Bond. Now, pre-internet, and in 1971, even when it was even harder, people may know the name James Bond, but he can get away with a lot more because people wouldn't readily know what he looks like unless they carry a sketch of him or a picture of him in their pocket. But even with, getting into even like the later Pierce Brosnan movies, but definitely into Daniel Craig, it's like with the internet, what does he do? What do AAO agents do? Because a whole movie, many spy movies, many action movies deal with, especially like I think maybe the big first one was Mission Impossible, deal with that secret list of covert spies.
Yes.
Right? The Nacht list. Because even Spectre that's like not Spectre, Skyfall, like that's the whole thing, is that the villain is going to like out these spies that are like hidden in other countries. Well, that's not Bond. He doesn't do that. He's not in there like working like for years like undercover. He's an assassin. So, but then they send him also to investigate things. It's interesting. James Bond is an interesting job.
No,
because
it's
like you have to go assassinate and kill people, but like he's not a Bucky Barnes wetwork assassin, which is like gets a picture and a file and that's your target. It's like something's going on. Please go look into this dude, like this crazy rich person, and get back to us. And like he's like a crime solver. He's a detective almost.
Yeah, but of course it's like it shifts movie to movie. I mean, because it is funny. The beginning of this movie, don't forget, he does say to M kind of like, "Isn't this beneath us? Like, isn't this too a mission that's too mundane to send me on?"
Where's the space laser?
Right. But it's kind of like I want M to be like, it's whatever we need it to be, Bond. It's like it's gonna change every time, just how crazy these things get. By the way, this is a huge shift just because I was thinking about it. But it was funny to see Circus Circus so heavily featured in this movie. Circus Circus obviously still exists, but it's kind of like it's a joke. It's a like, oh, Circus Circus, it's old and dilapidated and always. But it's funny to see even in this movie, it's like the weirdness of Circus Circus, and that's when we get the elephant. We also get that fucking part with the kids are all assembled to watch a mad scientist show. I groaned immediately when I saw a black woman in behind cage, thing.
Yeah, it's terrible optics.
It's
like the gorilla
awful.
Yeah,
and then she changes into a gorilla, so it's awful. But then the gorilla bursts out and chases the kids out. I'm like, is that the show every time? Like, terrify the kids and they run out? Like, is that the closer? I don't understand. Like, how this works.
Yeah, I don't know. So again, like, if the last movie I feel did this well, I guess I don't even was Ocean's 11, as far as like, let's bring the eye on Vegas once again and we've got Soderbergh's eye in the camera, like showing us shots with the fun music and like, because again, like you have to think about what cinematically has been done to death. Well, the downtown LA, like skylines, LA is in everything. Like, how can you romanticize and show people things in a new way that's been shown 100 times before? At this point in 1971, it probably hadn't been done to death with Vegas, and it's like still Vegas. Like, it's a new thrilling place that most Americans hadn't been to. But now that's a totally different story. Everywhere has been discovered by everybody, so it's really hard to do. But yeah, Circus Circus is sort of like, now it's like the stinky place you don't want to go to, but it's cheaper. Because it's like up on the North Strip where nothing is. And yeah, so
remember when we tried to walk there in Vegas? We thought it was close because it visually was close, and then it turned out we couldn't get there because
because there was a big freeway in the middle.
Yeah, and then we were stuck. It was like horrific. Like, it was like
that's when we knew that the walkable America was dead. In the late 90s when we tried this. Because we were staying at what, Palace Station or something? We were
staying at Palace Station because that's Adam's favorite for camp reasons.
For camp reasons that make like getting anywhere else. Yes. And like all he wanted to do was go to Slots of Fun because it was called Slots of Fun.
I forgot about that.
Which I guess I can appreciate for
the
wordplay.
I remember it was funny that we finally gave up walking to Circus Circus, decided to get a taxi rideshare, and the closest place to do that was the parking lot of a strip club, and I do remember it was funny because when we got in the back of the taxi, Julie decided to do her shtick, which was thanks for coming to support me on my first day. That we were her friends who were with her.
If you're not living for the bit, what are you living for?
What are you living for? Yes.
And yeah, we were like, yeah, it was great to hear you dance to Poison's Fallen Angel. Like, it was so great.
You listened to our advice.
So, speaking of undercover work,
Mm-hmm.
Wint and Kid are great. I like their banter. I like that one is clearly an actor and the other is some schmo who just says his lines. And you know, they're gay but without saying we're gay, like elements of their duo, but also the fact that, like, can they ever be undercover? If I see these two, I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Something crazy is about to happen because they look insane.
Yes, yes. But that's again, they're very fun because they're so different and weird. Yes, once again, in the Bond series and in this era, gay coded villains, because if they're gonna be gay coded, it has to be the weird villains, but they're very appealing as a weird duo. They really should learn from their lesson though of they I mean it's a trope and it's a James Bond trope, but multiple times in this movie they screw themselves over by trying to like leave Bond to die in an elaborate way instead of just shooting him. So they like put him in the coffin that he's going to be cremated. They put him in the pipeline.
Where's his scorpion down the shirt? You know what I mean? Like, just do that.
Right. Just watch him die, guys. Yeah. You could have him if you just watch him
and
die.
Even their plot at the end is so elaborate, which is like, he could have just stabbed him with the ice pick.
Yes.
But it's like, what if we had a bomb in the fucking baked Alaska and like it will go off at some point? I don't know. It's weird too because everything else is almost staged to look like an accident, the way that they're killing people. But like, so his cruise cabin is just gonna explode. Like, and that's the excuse. It's like, that happens.
I also appreciate, again, there's quirkiness to this movie I definitely appreciate. And another one is Bambi and Thumper, who show up.
They're fun. Yeah,
they are fun. In the when I was longing for my Winton Kid, at least they gave me some Bambi and Thumper, and kind of a fun little like one scene, you know, crazy gymnastic henchwomen scene. I thought that was a very fun little element to put in this movie.
Oh, kick his ass, Seabass.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else about the? Okay,
Well,
so the whole plot is, you know, the Blofeld reveal, and there are two Blofelds, and he tries to like get the right one, but he throws a clone cat instead. Like, the cat's cloned too. And then the whole plot is that the diamonds were being used to create a space laser that we see a lot of it, and then things just pick up super fast, which is like this montage of the laser destroying nuclear places, catching Chinese soldiers on fire.
It feels like one of the first times though, like a Bond villain is succeeding in doing dark shit. This little montage,
he's blown things up. But you know, there is the ransom that happens off screen. It's like Bond just hears about this stuff. Don't you know Blofeld's holding the whole world for ransom?
And then, I can't tell. Blofeld has a line about we're going to achieve our dream of total disarmament and peace throughout the world. We don't dig enough into Blofeld to know, is he a Thanos like I actually want the world to be better? Like,
this is what so the whole thing was that the scientist that built this, that with the light refraction and shit, used the diamonds to build this satellite. They were like, he's a peace lover. How did Blofeld get his hooks into him? And what it seems like is that he has sold the scientist on disarmament, but really that's not what Blofeld's all about. He's like, I know I want $1 billion. That's why I'm doing this. But he still has to trick this fucking idiot into, I think he's just a couple more lines could have solved this with the scientist saying, but you said this was about world peace. And he's like, I lied, and he shoots him or something.
Yeah,
but like,
I think we just lost the plot a lot on because I don't even think they say the name Spectre in this movie, but it's like what the goals of Spectre and Blofeld are get a little muddy by this point.
Yeah, he has some dollar amount, and then he's like, if you don't do it, I'm going to destroy a city with this, which I can also apparently do. He makes some funny joke about Kansas. like if we destroy Kansas, people wouldn't know about it for years,
That was
which
a
is
good
pretty funny.
line. Tiffany, by the way, says, speaking of one of Kansas's most famous citizens, she has the line, "Is Superman giving you any trouble?" a few years before Tom Mankiewicz will write Superman.
Who will be from Smallville. So what
Hmm.
I'll say is that the best line in this movie comes from when Tiffany they cheat at the Midway Carnival circus like balloon blow up like thing, and she wins the doll that has the diamonds in it and stuff. And the kid's like, "Hey, she cheated," and she says, "Blow up your pants." Man, why did that go away? Was this the only time that's ever been said? I'm gonna start using it. So if you hear it, please don't be taken aback. Blow up your pants, buddy. It's almost like when I heard in Monster Squad, one of the best things I've heard as far as like in a B movie, just a line that like, man, that's so good. When he tells his sister, "Handle life," uh, "Handle life" is amazing. I say
Well,
it constantly, but now that will be replaced with "blow up your
this
pants."
is
So
making me think of one of the greatest lines in cinema history, which is Sleepaway Camp's "Eat shit and live."
eat shit. The thing is, though, you need "eat shit and die" to set that up.
Yes, you do. You
The
need
other
someone.
ones you can use anytime. So
Right. Although if someone just said "Eat shit and live," I think it'd be good because it would confuse you. By the way, one of the only things I kind of half remembered when it happened, I was like, "Oh yeah," was I laughed a lot at Bond's fake makeout with himself. You know, when he's in the alley and he like
yeah.
wraps his own. You know that guy has some crazy masturbation techniques.
Well, it's just escalated because like what gets him off now? Like nothing. He's so desensitized to the world.
There are some witty one-liners in here, including the I didn't know there was a pool down there when the henchman.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
By the way, Plenty O'Toole is talked about way more than she should be in Bond girl lore, in the sense that like it's because she has big tits. She's barely in the movie. She's got that scene where they throw her into the pool. Then she's seen dead the next time.
When, in a see-through shirt, so you can see her nipples, which is always one of those. As someone who is pro boobs, it's always a little
Yeah.
bit like I don't know about doing the corpse boobs. That always feels a
Well,
little.
the actress, and I can't remember her name now. I
It's
can just look
Lana
it up.
Wood. Oh,
Lana
do I?
Wood. Okay. Lana Wood, who films obviously did not do the fall into the pool, but did the
Mhm.
last part of the fall into the pool and is in the pool topless when she is in there. And she was like, "Sure, I could do this. It's a night shoot. Who's going to be there?" And then she's joked in behind the scenes interviews. She's like, "Everyone was there because it's Vegas." So
Yeah.
apparently, everyone on the street was just watching her tits out in the pool constantly.
Oh my. Um, all right. Here's what I've been waiting for, Matt, about why I was a little distracted at one point watching this movie, which is going down the Wikipedia hole of realizing that this Bond movie has two Bond girls who are connected forever because one hates the other because well, I don't know who she hates her. One of the Bond girls in this movie believes that the husband of the other one murdered her sister in real life, and the whole Robert Wagner, Natalie Wood of it all, and
yeah.
it is crazy. And for those who don't know, that Natalie Wood fell off a boat and died when she was on a boat ride with her husband Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken. It is one of Hollywood's sort of most infamous stories of what really happened. Why did she fall off the boat?
Why
Um,
didn't they save her? Why did, yeah, like all
Yes,
this. Yeah.
all this stuff. And to realize, as I was looking at family members of both these actresses and seeing Natasha Gregson Wagner connected to both all this stuff,
Well,
I'd be
she's
like,
his niece because there was his
yes,
stepdad. Yeah. Yeah.
yes. So Lana Wood's sister was Natalie Wood. Jill St. John married Robert Wagner later after this.
And not till 1990. But yeah.
Yes, yes. Natalie Wood was married to Robert Wagner twice, by the way. They married, divorced, married other people, divorced them, then married each other again, and she would die as his wife. Um, there has always been, by the way, alleged, nothing proved. People have always wondered if Robert Wagner killed his wife. And the reason I really feel safe saying that is because Lana Wood has said in interviews, I think Robert Wagner killed my sister. By the way, in 2018, this got reopened and Robert Wagner was named a person of interest. Nothing seemed to have come of that.
Isn't this also the inspiration for the Clint Booth wife?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
It's an infamous Hollywood story. It's always going to be a scandal, a weird, be a big stars involved in this thing. But to learn that there is, understandably, because if you're Jill St. John, Lana Wood is
Sorry,
saying
Cliff Booth. I said Clint.
Cliff Booth. Yeah, I knew what you meant.
All
If
right.
you're Jill St. John, and I presume believe your husband is not a murderer, you've got Lana Wood saying your husband is a murderer. Anyway, they don't get along, and in 1999 there was a Vanity Fair like Bond girl reunion pictorial, and Jill St. John would not be photographed with Lana Wood, and it's a whole thing. They're both alive. Robert Wagner is alive, and Robert Wagner, ironically, is probably best known now as number 2 in the Austin Powers movies, a James Bond parody. But anyway, crazy shit with the 2 Bond girls in this movie and this real life thing, and yeah, just sort of I went, Matt, like my glancing at who these, I knew Jill, because Jill St. John is kind of a fame, she has fame outside of this movie, and I always knew she was famous for stuff. Lana Wood, I didn't recognize that name. And then kind of realizing, oh, they're connected to each other, and then realizing that the connection is kind of a crazy connection. Anyway, there is your tangent that I went down last night watching.
So Robert Wagner and Jill St. John are in the Yada Yada episode.
A famous
Seinfeld episode.
Yeah.
And people have made jokes about and have made a meme about, they show Robert Wagner still from that. And he says in the meme, well, Natalie and I were married. We went boating with Christopher Walken, and yada, yada, I'm remarried now. So,
whoa. Holy shit.
That's how deep it goes.
Oh yeah. Dang. Okay. Wow.
Anyway, so interesting little deep dive into the back of the old. I feel like Liz Taylor did this too. It was an older Hollywood thing to get remarried to somebody who wants divorce.
You already married, yeah. Yeah. It's all very strange.
The pool was very small. You're like, well,
yes. But it's just so weird that these 2 women are both in this movie. They don't share scenes together. That if you look on the Wikipedia page for this movie, there's a picture of them smiling and laughing together on set. The fact that Robert Wagner was considered to play James Bond in this movie, it is a very strange, like less than 6 degrees of separation to this crazy Hollywood, infamous story.
Want to wrap it up by talking about the oil rig stuff at the end, like the big set piece, which is like we're out of Vegas. Like we start off briefly in like, where do you go? Holland or somewhere, and then
this was
Vegas,
the first
Vegas for most of the movie.
I think this is the first Bond movie where one of the international locations I've been to, because Amsterdam. So I was like, okay, I know this place.
And then ends up at this oil rig, which is supposed to be like off the coast of Baja California, and with the army versus army again, sort of like the classic James Bond big climax. And
although it feels a little like perfunctory here, like it feels kind of like, all right, yeah, there's
because it's not till I feel like the last 20 minutes of the movie that they're like, there's a death satellite, right? Like it's such a huge like swing in the third act, and then it's like, well, where could he be controlling it from? And then it's like, let's go to the oil thing, which is fun. Again, I still love real explosions. I wish they'd bring them back to movies. There's just something about that works so well. Just the old shootouts of yesteryear, and the explosions, and the presumed death, I guess for real this time, of Blofeld, as Bond which isn't whacks him over and over into the building and blows it up. Yeah.
I oddly, I still feel like it's not as impactful as it should be.
It's not even as impactful as the fake Blofeld death of the pre-credit sequence.
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not satisfying, as far as like, if you do actually want revenge for Tracy Bond, and this is the only way you're going to get it with a different actor and a different tone, it's still not a very satisfying way. It's funny because you get to see him go, oh, you blithering idiot, or whatever he's carrying on about, with like not knowing that Bond is like, if he could have somehow seen Bond controlling it, we get a reaction of him saying like, oh no, I'm cooked, right? Like, because Bond's got me on the crane and I'm trapped. But we don't even see that. He like vanishes from most. As soon as he starts getting rammed into the side of the building, we don't see him. Then we already talked about like he tried to switch the tape, but she accidentally switches it back, and But the after all the dust is settled and the good guys have won, I guess because they have destroyed the facility. There was a countdown, but like no wires get cut, no button gets pushed to turn off the machine. It's just blown up. He goes on a cruise with her. Okay, all right, whatever. It seems like she's going to ask him to marry him, which is weird. But then we get the post third act action bit of the assassins coming back for them one time. We don't know why Wint and Kid just want to kill him. I guess it's because they've tried to twice and failed, and it's just professional. They need to
it just feels like unfinished business.
Like their boss is dead, I guess, but they're still like, we got to do this or else no one's going to hire us ever again. And but yeah, it's this whole elaborate like room service thing on the boat, which is like with some funny fake outs and banter between him and Wint, as far as like trying to like, I smell your aftershave and you got the fucking wine wrong. But the bomb is hilarious. Like the fact that like the reveal of the bomb, and like they call it Le Bombe Surprise, and like it's like it feels very Police Academy and very like inefficient way to get the job done. Like when was this bomb gonna go off? What was the plan? Were they gonna feed them the whole meal?
I know. Were they gonna stay there to make sure they ate it? Were they gonna die with them? Like
maybe that would have been actually pretty cool.
Like with Blofeld gone, they just have no reason to get.
But then we get the two deaths. One is which is played for sort of like gay panic comedy moment of the flipping and the blowing up. But one is horrific. Like a kid getting set on fucking fire.
I know.
And screaming in agony, like before he plummets into the ocean, is terrible. Terrible way for this schlub to go. Like he did not put any of his victims through such torture. Like,
I mean, I guess they try to kill him multiple times, but still.
I'm just saying, like they kill people quick, and not like the way Bond kills people, which is or any means necessary. Diamonds Are Forever, Eric.
Here, let me bullet
great
point.
Great song though.
It is a great song. Let me bullet point a couple of just lingering thoughts I had. Charles Gray as Blofeld in drag looks like Conan O'Brien as Aunt Gladys.
He yes. He also he's some like it hots out of the casino in such a stupid way. Like it's almost like we're watching Armed and Dangerous. It's sort of so bad. Anyway, yes. He does look like
it's funny that Q it's a couple movies in a row now where we're not getting like the Q super weapons. So he gets a couple like helpful things from Q. So he gets the fake fingerprints, and then he gets the Ghostface Scream 3 Sound Like Anyone voice changer. But I did like, which A was funny to me, and B, when Bond is pretending to be someone else on the phone and he's talking, he really builds himself up because he's talking about how Bond is so smart, he's so tough. So it's
this is like when Trump calls in pretending to be his own publicist.
It is. He's like, oh, James Bond is the best. He has, a two foot long penis. Like
I think he's having sex right now.
They won't stop having sex with him. In general, I actually really like the score to this one, and we're coming off a movie where we also really like the score. It's not doesn't have like that, the Honor Majesty's Secret Service has that awesome new like kind of spy theme, but this just has a weird kind of stranger feel to it. I mentioned that Wint and Kid have their own theme, which I really liked, but also even in the part that the lead up to Bambi and Thumper, there is a different version of the Bond theme played that's like eerie and has like synthesizer behind it.
Yeah, it's like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. I really like that. And then lastly, it is funny because we've mentioned so many times that the cut to rear projection, because you're not going to have your leading man driving in the high speed chase. But there is a moment in this movie where Connery clearly was doing a stunt in camera that I was both impressed by and also like amused by, because they wouldn't let it happen now unless you're Tom Cruise. Which is those 3-wheel bikes that the guys are chasing him through the desert.
Like the ATVs or something.
Yeah. When he gets on, there is a shot where he rides up on one and jumps off and lets it go, so it like flies off, and he runs up to her, and so it's all in camera. There's no cut, and it's like, oh, Connery did that, which probably means he wanted to do it. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and but it also it's funny, something that he just wouldn't be allowed to do today unless he signed some huge waiver that only Tom Cruise even gets to sign usually.
And does he even sign a waiver? Who knows?
I mean,
I
don't
feel
know
like
what
he's just a waiver. I think Tom Cruise himself is a human waiver.
the human waiver that could be
The
the name of
human
his next.
waiver.
So yeah, Diamonds Are Forever, a weird movie, but actually, I guess I admire it for its weirdness. And yeah, it does kind of bog down in the middle, but I like the strangeness kind of around the edges of the film.
I feel like what they went for here in Diamonds Are Forever, they figure out how to do better in Live and Let Die as far as the Americanization of Bond and introducing a new Bond. Because even in the opening here, they hold back on showing Connery, because you even said it was like ADR, I'm not showing up for this.
Yeah.
But they hold back on the Bond reveal the way they did with Lazenby, because he was a new Bond. So they even hold back like meet your old Bond, he's the new Bond. But like, I think everything clicks better what they were going for here, because there's definitely weird stuff in Live and Let Die too, but it works much better and is one of, if not the best Roger Moore Bond film. So anyway.
You just reminded me though, just whatever reason I'm talking about the opening, that I forgot to mention on Her Majesty's Secret Service that because here we go, we have the Connery walking through the iris and shooting. It's the black and white version, because we mentioned how they went to color but then went back to black and white. I forgot to mention on the Lazenby episode that I just thought it was funny that he also wore a hat. They still were sticking with the hat for the opening.
And we get a hat here too. The Hat Man appears to everyone in their dreams. So yeah.
But because there is no Moneypenny office scene, we don't get any shtick with the hat rack. So
well, I would like to think though that he threw the hat to Moneypenny and he hasn't put a hat on since because of Tracy. That's what I.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
He's like, I gave my hat away. Like, no more hat.
I gave my hat away. That's the next James Bond movie.
All right. Diamonds Are Forever, final Sean Connery Bond, unless you count Never Say Never Again in 1983, which is a crazy movie and actually kind of enjoyable. I sent you a video of
oh, that's where that's from?
That's from the snake in the car. Yeah.
That's really funny.
That is the Fiona character, now called Fatima. Yes, in Never Say Never Again.
Fantastic.
Dispatching someone with a snake and the old python in the car, thrown into the car.
The old python. But yeah, next week, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
It's true. It's true. What he says is true.
Which came out just a few years after this.
Until then, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And Chakma.
Chakma.